And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We're North Georgia's only live online morning show. Now, let me go over a couple things with you. You can always send me text messages. You can send text messages. You can send those to 706-889-9700. If you'd ever like to be on the show, you can call me. That's our 24/7 hotline for news. Or if you ever want to be on the show, or you have something, a news tip, that's 706-889-9700. You can send me emails at chief@fetchernews.com. That's chief@fetchernews.com. Or you can also follow us on Twitter at FetcherNews and at FYNTV. Don't forget you can do that. A couple things just before we move into this next segment is if you would like to get involved with the fastest growing news network, online news network in Georgia, that would be FetcherNews.com. Send me a message because we have several counties that we're looking for reporters, investigative reporters. You're interested in investigating why they are spending your tax money a certain way, or just get in touch with me, I'm telling you. Sports, community, get in touch with us here. We'd like to talk to you. Anyhow, okay, Jon Ossoff. Now, last week, if you watched the show, okay, I actually gave Jon Ossoff some advice. I know you didn't like it, folks, because he's a Democrat. But when Donald Trump came out, if you watch this show every day, you know exactly what I'm saying is true. When Donald Trump came out after the failed vote, they did not bring the vote, the American Health Care Act. And by the way, Joe Scarborough, if you ever listen, okay, this morning you said a Republican president to move a Republican agenda. What they needed was a Republican president to move a Republican agenda. And all I want to say is, so what you're telling me is Paul Ryan just passed off as Obamacare Light, as a repeal, masked as a repeal, is Republican agenda. That's what you want me to believe, that Paul Ryan is moving Republican agenda. You know, another great thing about the thing about the surveillance and Russia and all this going on, I'm having to practice throughout the day saying masked and unmasked. That is the question. I'm having to practice that on a daily basis. I mean, because as you know, that masked really gets me, okay? I feel like, you know, Sylvester and Tweety trying to say masked. You know what I mean? Some of you don't know who Sylvester is. My God. All right, anyhow. I don't know. What were we talking about? Okay, so President Trump comes out after they don't bring the vote, and he says, you know, hey, if I've got to talk to some Democrats, you know, if we got to get Democrats in here to work out this health care bill, right? I said last week, what I say right after the vote, I said, if I'm Jon Ossoff, I do a commercial. I'm serious. I said this. You know I'm telling the truth. If I'm Jon Ossoff, I do a commercial immediately, and I let the 6th District know that I'm that guy. I'm the guy that will go up there, put everything aside, and work with the President of the United States. I will work whoever, whenever, for you, right? And I know you didn't like that I gave him that advice. I don't know if he got it from me. I don't know. Maybe he did. Because the only thing he does not do in this commercial, he does not say he's a Democrat. But everything I said he should do, if I was running his campaign, you don't have to like it. If I'm running a guy's campaign, as soon as Trump does it, I say, hey, you got a Republican district down here. Now, Phil Kent on the Georgia gang, which is correct. We're going to go to those commercials. Yesterday, Phil Kent, they're using the Republicans are using too many things out of the playbook right now. And I don't know if this doesn't call for a trick play. You know, I don't know if this doesn't call for drawing up a new play. Because I will tell you this, okay, Republicans are nervous in the 6th District. I know, I told you earlier in the show, I'm not always talking to you as the 3, 5%, 7%, whatever, that pay attention. I'm talking to you as the ones that pay attention should realize what's going on out there so you can be a part of it. Republicans are nervous with the 6th District right now, very nervous, okay? For me, I can hear the yelling through here. For me, the Star Wars commercial didn't land. Republicans came out first, and I'm not going to play that one, but Republicans came out first with this Jon Ossoff Star Wars that when he was in his dorm room, him and his friends were cutting up, probably, I don't know, just my words, allegedly, you know, maybe, you know, smoking a little weed, you know, drink a couple of beers, and the next thing you know, he thinks he's, you know, Luke Skywalker and may the Force be with you, and they're horsing around, right? So the Republicans capture, you know, this guy does film documentaries, so he likes film stuff. So the Republicans take that footage where the guy's horsing around. My words, I didn't say he's smoking weed. I just say he's in college dorm. What's the odds, right? So anyhow, he's got this whole Luke Skywalker thing going with Star Wars. They're horsing around, so they're trying to show how immature he is, and they take this clip and they play it. Didn't land. He keeps going up in the polls. He is not ready, you know. Folks, you know, I think the Republicans may have helped the guy get some approval rating. I don't know if you've been around these Star Wars. Now, by the way, while we're on this, because my ADD is really kicking in, let's go on the Wayback Machine, all right? You got to understand, I was in the line out in front of the movie theater for the Star Wars when it first came out. I was there. I know these people, I mean, they camp out for these Star Wars tickets. And there's a lot of people. So anyhow, I don't think that commercial landed. You might not like what I just said, but I don't think it did. I think the Republicans running a commercial saying the guy likes Star Wars and pretending, you know, may the Force be with you, okay, I don't think that landed. So the Republicans fall short on that one. Guys, poll numbers keep going up. Millions of dollars pouring into Ossoff's campaign. Millions from the DCCC. Millions from MoveOn.org. Millions from all of these leftist George Soros groups. Millions. Enough money that this guy's got enough money to play commercials on NCAA basketball championship games. Yes. All right. He's got enough money to run on Sunday morning, all the major networks. He's running the commercial. If you have not, now if you're out there in Wisconsin this morning, you're down in Florida, you're out in Texas, okay, and why is this important? Because I'm going to get to that. You want to stay to this story. I've been yelling it from the top of the mountain from day one. I have all the video to show it, that you better pay attention to this 6th District. So from the Daily Kos, all of them, they are enjoying this. This is Share Blue. This is Monday, April 3rd. Share Blue. The resistance is working. Democrat candidate surges in red Georgia seat. This is from Matthew Chapman. He actually wrote this on March 31st. This is March 31st. The unlikely Democrat challenger for Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price's congressional seat has drawn national attention and has put the GOP on defense in a solidly Republican district. Okay, the special election to fill congressional seat vacated by Donald Trump's Health and Human Service Secretary Tom Price was never supposed to be competitive. Georgia's 6th Congressional District, which contains the northern suburbs of Atlanta, have not been held by a Democrat for nearly 40 years. So the last time, okay, so far Ossoff has raised $3 million for his campaign. On average, Democrats running for this seat usually raise about $10,000. Ossoff is running a campaign for himself. Period. He is, out of 18 candidates, been able to run his campaign against himself. He has 4 other Democrat challengers, Ron Slotin, Dr. Quigg, Ron Slotin, I forget the other gentleman's name. I'll come up with it later. There's 5 Democrat candidates. But the Democrats, as usual, said, you know, hell with 4 of them. We picked our candidate, DCCC. Everybody's poured money into it. All right. 4 other candidates you would never know exist. We did everything here at FetcherNews.com, FYNTV, to get you to see that there are 5 Democrat candidates. Now, Ossoff's been able to obviously run his own campaign his own way and run for himself and not have to run against anybody because he has locked up the Democrat support. And he's going after Republican support. Now, on the other hand, the Republicans are not able to run the same campaign. Not able. They don't know who to run against. That's my opinion. Do you run against the Democrat? Do you run against your fellow Republican? Because if you don't get enough votes to get into the runoff, so you have to be a different kind of Republican. So there's the challenge on the other side. Now, so Ossoff takes my advice, and let's go ahead and play. Notice the color of his tie. I know how silly it is. I just want to say that, okay? Color of his tie. Notice what color it is. Sam, make sure I can hear it. Make sure the folks at home can hear it. Make sure it happens. Let it roll.
I'm Jon Ossoff, and I think Congress could be doing things a lot better. Both parties in Washington waste too much of your money. When I worked there, I helped expose waste and abuse by government contractors. We need stricter oversight and tougher penalties. They need to be held accountable. And there's $16 billion in duplicate programs. That can be cut. I approve this message because I'll work with anybody in Washington who respects your tax dollars.
Okay, folks. One, he's wearing a purple tie. Remember we did our purple segment for Hillary Clinton? Okay, just saying. I don't think it's a coincidence. Just saying. Look it up. Wearing his purple tie. Just saying. Sam, do you remember when it just last week did this segment on purple? Huh? Interesting. Interesting, right? Just saying. Ossoff says both parties are wasting your tax dollars. Both parties, okay? $16 billion in duplicate programs. So is he saying he would cut some things? Excuse me. $16 billion in duplicate programs, okay? He will work with anyone on both sides of the aisle for you. Interesting. That seems to be right in line with the advice I gave him. I know you don't like it. You're yelling. Why the hell are you giving this Democrat advice? I'm just saying, I'm watching it. I'm going to watch it from day one. I see it coming. All right? Is that commercial, if you're watching this show on a daily basis, is that not exactly what I said if I was Jon Ossoff I would go do the next day? I would be that Democrat that reached across the aisle. I would be the guy ready to work with him. Now, he doesn't say Trump. He doesn't say he'll work with Trump, but he'll work with anyone. You understand? Anyone. Anyone. He'll work with anyone. He'll reach across the aisle. Now, you don't know that's a Democrat. Now, Phil Kent, which I like Phil Kent on the Georgia gang, Phil Kent, the Republicans are nervous. So they have an excuse. The Star Wars ad didn't work. The other attacks did not work. They've not worked on this guy because he's got the money. He's running ad after ad, trying to sound like a nice young man in the 6th District that would go up there and actually be beholden to the voter. It's what they're trying to portray. If you have enough money, you can paint anybody any way you want. Look at Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods was never the boy next door. He was never the nice kid that you thought, the nice guy that drove a Buick and got his grandmother and took her to the doctor and brought her home in the Buick. Never happened. Tiger Woods was a low life the whole time. But he had enough money and enough marketing to make you think he was the boy next door, okay? Wasn't true. Same thing with this guy. He's got enough money, he's got enough marketing to build him a certain way to present to you. Now, Phil Kent says on the Georgia gang, well, Ossoff is polling at 40%. That's the Democrat vote. See, they're making excuses. That's the Democrat vote. He said any Democrat that runs in that district is going to get 40%. Well, you know, I see Tom Price, I think won the last time, 68% there. So any Democrat that runs is going to get 40%, is what Phil Kent says. So that's the Democrat vote. No big deal. No fear, nothing to see here. I disagree. Okay, I disagree. Now, this is the Republicans' commercial. Okay, now wait a minute. Before you play it, Sam, you got to understand this is the Republicans. The other one was for Jon Ossoff. Jon Ossoff is being supported by the DCCC. That's a Democrat Congressional Campaign Committee. They're not supposed to endorse a candidate here. They have 4 other Democrats that they've not given a penny to, a dime to, or held a fundraiser. Ossoff has had fundraisers held by Nancy Pelosi, John Lewis, the whole works, Steny Hoyer, you know, Chucky the Clown might have showed up. Man, they might have had a clown for the show, all right? Chucky the Clown might have showed up. Show the clown that showed up at the fundraiser for Ossoff. They had a clown. It's like a birthday party for a kid. He's a man-child. Look, he doesn't look over 21 years old, so they had a fundraiser, right? So who else shows up but Chucky the Clown? Got to have a clown. Get that clown off my screen, okay? So anyhow, Ossoff's raising all this money from the DNC. The Republicans, they can't do that. Playing by the rules. All they can do is run ads against Ossoff and not in favor of any of the candidates. So run this ad and tell me if you think this works. Because the Star Wars one did not work. Tell me what you think of this ad. Go ahead.
Liberal extremists will stop at nothing to push their radical agenda. Now they're turning their attention to Georgia and demanding that you vote for Jon Ossoff for Congress. Jon Ossoff is one of them. Ossoff will vote with Nancy Pelosi for more spending, bigger government, and a weaker military. Don't let them hijack our congressional seat. Stop Ossoff now. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Do you think that works? Do you think that ad works? Do you? I mean, I'm really asking you. If you think that ad works, do you know? I'll tell you this much. The 5%, we're going to say with the 5% no, I know he'll go vote with Nancy Pelosi. I know that. I know he is being supported by the radical left. I know that. I know there's a resistance movement out there, and George Soros, that is attempting to disrupt the actual foundation of this country and cause us to collapse, no pun intended, worse than 85. I'm serious. I know that. They want to collapse this country and then feel like they've saved you. I know that, okay? You and I know that what they're saying on that commercial possibly could be true. But I, for one, feel that commercial falls flat again, okay? Here's what I'm going to tell you on April 18th. If you've not, I'm sorry. No, I do not want to see Jon Ossoff become the congressman of the 6th District. But folks, if the second in line is Karen Handel, Republicans will have a problem, okay? Because I'm going to tell you something, if the second in line is Karen Handel, and we have seen her endorsement by Zaxby Chambliss, which we all know, Senator. If you don't know this, look it up out there, wherever you're at. Georgia Senator Zaxby Chambliss, a moderate at best, those are my kind words about him, a moderate at best, knew that he had to retire, which is now the seat is filled by David Perdue, Senator David Perdue, which is endorsing Dan Moody. Okay, so we know that Zaxby Chambliss retired based on how vulnerable he was, because Georgia felt he was way too liberal for the seat any longer. He is Karen Handel's, who endorsed Karen Handel. Just saying, folks, just saying. All right, last but not least, before we run, Ossoff is running for 50% now. If he's polling 40, watch what happens. Be careful of the polling. One warning I want to give you. Be careful of the polling in the last 3 weeks of this election. Election day is April 18th. In the state of Georgia, so you all know this, you already do, it is a 50% plus one state. So a candidate has to get 50% plus one vote, meaning, okay, it's likely with 18 candidates there will be a runoff. But the split in the vote, folks, is on the Republican side, not on the Democrat side. And if Ossoff is already polling in near 40% with 18 candidates, be careful come election day. Because if Jon Ossoff wins this election, he will freeze every seat in the House of Representatives, every Senate election, it will freeze. If you think the Republican agenda, which we don't even know what that is, we can't identify it, is having trouble going forward and getting votes, you wait to see this happen. Because let me tell you, every single politician in Washington, D.C., they are counting votes now. They are counting votes. That's what they're doing. How is back home reacting? If the votes back home say that the Freedom Caucus is wrong, your Freedom Caucus members are going to start coming out to the podium and sounding a little more receptive to President Trump. I'm your host, BKP. Watch this race. Purple tie Ossoff. Sounds like a guy that could get along with Donald Trump, get along with Republicans. Never know. I definitely looks like the kind of guy who could get along with Lindsey Graham and John McCain, right? I'm your host, BKP. We'll be back after these messages. Wait a minute, Freedom Caucus. Let me tell them a little bit about what we're looking at on the other side of this, Sam. I know I'm jumping all around. Be careful out there, okay? But Freedom Caucus, let's see what else. Who's running for governor? We'll talk about that a little later in the show. Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp is throwed his name in there. Who else has thrown their name in there? I've been practicing this one. Inscopulatory. Is that right? Inscopulatory? Inscopulatory. I've been practicing that word. I think I have it. Inscopulatory. We'll talk about inscopulatory on the other side of this. I'm serious. Sounds like something your doctor's going to check on you, but it's not exactly that. Let's see. Nikki Haley. I got to give her credit. She didn't buckle. She did not buckle. She focused on the UN. All right. I'm your host, BKP. Sam, take us to break so I can practice inscopulatory.